Guys, welcome Australia, and wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are so happy to have you, and we are so honored today to have Amy Holmwood with us. This lady is phenomenal, and you're going to learn so much today and just see what we have in our hands here with this company. So I want to share a little bit about Amy with you. First of all, my name is Charlotte Venter. I live on the Sunshine Coast in Australia and absolutely love what this product does for us in our bodies. Let me share a little bit about Amy. Amy's been an investor and an entrepreneur in the health and wellness sector for 2 decades, while simultaneously building a successful financial services practice serving wealthy families. She's been a Lyme disease sufferer, and Amy, I must tell you that myself, about 5 years ago, I actually got Lyme's disease on the coast here in Australia. So I know what that means. It's a horrible, horrible illness. So she's a Lyme's disease sufferer and is passionate about educating people on natural alternatives to achieve better health, longevity, and financial opportunities within the wellness and nutrigenomics field or space. Amy is promoting science-based Nrf2 and Nrf2 activation products in the United States and in Asia. And Amy has received a Bachelor of Business Administration degree from the George Washington University, majoring in international business. Amy is so well sought after, guys. We have been trying to get Amy on here, so this is an amazing time for us this morning to be able to just get 30 minutes of this amazing lady's time. So Amy, thank you so much. We really appreciate, we know how busy you are. We really appreciate your time and your knowledge that you're going to share with us today. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be with you. And Charlotte, I apologize for yesterday. I've been traveling all over the world and was just in California. I'm off to Thailand tomorrow. So you just got me in between trips. But I can't hear you guys. I don't know why. I can just hear a little bit, and that's okay. I'm going to plug my phone in to the charger here. And I'm in my car. I'm in my LifeVantage Jeep, so you can see my red interior. Okay, with my gray. I had the special design with the piping, and I mean, you guys, this is so much fun. And I've been a little spoiled in my life. I've had some nice cars. I'm not gonna lie. I worked really, really hard in the insurance business for about 30 years. I was really fortunate to be introduced to that industry by my father. When I was in college, I worked with him. And then I decided after I graduated that I would get into that business with him. After working for a few years for another company in Washington, D.C., I decided to go and do that. And then unfortunately, my father got sick and was diagnosed with cancer. And so for almost about 8 years, I worked with him every day in the office. And it was such a blessing to be in a business where I could be with my family and work with my dad. And so, it was all a blessing, but that was not really what I wanted to do. It wasn't my heart's desire to be in financial services. I really wanted to travel the world. I studied international business. And so long story short, I ended up staying in that business after he passed away. And I felt a responsibility to do that. So it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I retired from that industry. And so I was 50 years old, you guys. So when you think about people that we talk to, you just don't know where people are in their lives. I wasn't done with what I wanted to do in my life, but I had been successful and I had some nice cars. So, now I'm driving a Jeep and it's like, people go, wow, what are you doing in a Jeep? I had other really nice cars. I'm not going to mention car names, but I love my Jeep. It's my favorite car I've ever had because it came from LifeVantage and it represents freedom and it represents the gift that we're giving to people every day by sharing this information. It came as a result of everyday people taking Protandim Nrf2 and putting true science on their skin is paying for this car and it's blessing people's lives. So I am very passionate about our products and our business. As Charlotte was saying, I've had Lyme disease. So that was something that I had to become an expert at health and wellness and nutrition because there's not a whole lot that they can do to combat that other than giving antibiotics to people, which they're just terrible. So over the years, about 20 years, I was taking antibiotics on and off, and which really became a fanatic about health, wellness, and nutrition. And so when I was given this information on Nrf2 activation in August of 2011, I literally am one of those people that didn't have to finish the video. So, you're going to run into people that are going to see the video and say, wow, that I totally get this. This is something very different. This is something really special. That doesn't happen very often, but I was one of those people. So don't think that you can't show this to someone that is going to totally get it and run with it. I've said to people, it doesn't matter who would have shown me the video. Literally, it could have been a mouse that hit play, and I would have wanted to research and find out about this product, Protandim. So I just always like people to understand that, it doesn't matter who shows the people the information. If you get the right people and they see this, which is what I did, and I understood that if this was real, how big this was, because I have been seeking out these types of products, looking for something like this for years, spending thousands of dollars at doctors' offices. And so to see the science of Nrf2 activation and then to be able to research it, and I'm sure in Australia people are very interested in research. It's a very educated community, and I live in the Bethesda, Maryland area. There's more PhDs here than anywhere in the United States. So I'm dealing on a daily basis with people. I have a meeting that's going on right now in a Starbucks that I walked out to see you guys, where they're sitting with a doctor of pharmacy right now getting the information about this. And so, it's so exciting to be able to share this with everybody. So, the company, LifeVantage, is a very unique company. It started out, I know you have a lot of guests on. We're talking to you guys about something that's a total breakthrough. You're hearing about it from a publicly traded company, from me sitting in my car, and you're saying to yourself, why am I not hearing about this from doctors? Has everyone seen the video, Charlotte, that we're talking to? Okay, great. So basically, I don't know if you guys realize, I'm just going to use an example. Like, people are starting to take probiotics now in the United States. That's becoming a very popular product for people to be using. And doctors are now recommending probiotics. But do you know that probiotics have been around since the 60s? And my mom used to give us probiotics when I was a kid. Now, that was in the 60s, okay? So we're at 2017 now, and it really literally hasn't been within the last 2 years that probiotics have kind of become mainstream. I don't know how it is in Australia, but that's literally like 55 years of time that's gone by until probiotics had become mainstream. My mother was way, way ahead of the curve. So just because you haven't heard about this from your doctor doesn't mean that this isn't real. I want people to understand that this type of information is not being circulated through doctors' offices very much right now. There's a lot of skepticism about this kind of stuff, and doctors don't have time to do the research on this. They don't even have time to do their jobs properly in the United States. I don't know what it's like in Australia. So when you hear about something like this and you're hearing it from someone who's not a physician or a practitioner, you have to do your own research now. And that's our job, is to give you guys the information. But the research on this has been done. I mean, this literally is the most researched nutraceutical in the world right now. And LifeVantage started pioneering this in 2004. And at that time, they really were so ahead of the curve. And even today we are. But you think about that was 13 years ago. And so putting a product like Protandim into the pharmaceutical chains and putting it into the vitamin stores was not a very good strategy on a product. It would have been like putting probiotics in a pharmacy 50 years ago and expecting someone to buy them. They wouldn't have even have known what they were. So we have to be realistic about this and realize that we are still at early adopter stage of this company. So when you show this to people, you're not going to get everybody that's going to jump on board. And you think to yourself, well, why isn't everybody just doing this? And they're not going to, because they're not going to take the time to do the research, because they just, either they're too lazy, or they don't really even, they're too sick to even care about their own health, because they're just not in a place where they care. Not everybody cares about this stuff. So, when you look at a bit from a business perspective, there are enough people on the planet Earth that are going to want this information. So you have to realize that 74% of the population in the United States takes a vitamin every day. And so I don't know how it is in Australia, but that's a huge statistic. So at least we know we have a captive audience, right? We know that there's going to be people that want this. So you have to say to yourself, okay, even if you're not someone, or your potential prospect or customers aren't people that take vitamins every day, it doesn't mean that they're not going to understand that there are other people who do. And they're going to want to understand, how can I monetize this? How can I be part of the next trillion-dollar industry in the world, which is the health and wellness sector, where it's the fastest growing, and it's also where more money is going to be made in the economy by entrepreneurs. So when you think about a business opportunity, you take Nrf2 activation, which is something that probably maybe within 10 years will be mainstream. I really think it'll probably take that long. We have such an opportunity to be an entrepreneur at the beginning of this. And so I really think it's important to talk about that with everybody that we're talking to, because not everybody's going to resonate with taking that little yellow pill, but they're going to resonate with paying their mortgage, putting their kids in college, and understanding that there's a real business opportunity if we can get in this in the beginning, which is really where we all are right now. Carrie Dickey and Stu Brody just celebrated their 7th anniversary with LifeVantage, and I literally feel today like we're more at the beginning than we were when I started 4 years ago, because I still can't believe how nobody knows about this yet. I have been doing this for 4.5 years, and I still have not met anyone that's heard of this yet. You know how many people I've met in 4.5 years? Between all the people that I've enrolled in the company as customers and distributors, and then everyone else I've supported, I have 16,000 people in my organization between customers and distributors. And so I've talked to a lot of people, and nobody so far has heard anything about this. So I know we're still at the absolute beginning of this. It's until we start hearing, oh yeah, I saw that news report already. Oh yeah, I started taking Protandim 3 years ago. That's never happened to me yet. So I am more excited about this today than I was when I started, because I really understand what we have here. I understand how big, because now I see my check every month on the 15th when it comes in. And I also can see what's happening in the area of science around Nrf2 activation, and we're watching it unfold. When I got involved in the company, we had 12 studies, and we were doing about just over $100 million in sales. That was 4.5 years ago. Now we're doing over 200 million, and we have 26 studies. So when the company said, you're not going to believe what comes out in the future, like, we're working on stuff that's going to blow your mind, I kept saying, I don't know how's that going to be possible to blow my mind more, but has continued to come out with more research, including the life extension on mice. You can't make that up. We're the only supplement in the world proven to extend life in a male mouse by 7%, which was statistically significant, and 3% in female mice. Now, there was not as much significance in the statistics on that, but the bottom line is it extended life in a mouse. And no other supplement's been able to show that. So I don't know that we even talk about that enough. And I think, a lot of people don't really care about living longer. They just want to be healthier. But when you looked at the reason that the mice live longer, it was because they had what's called health span, which was they were healthier. That's why they lived longer. So while we're alive, if we can be healthier and have lower oxidative stress, which is going to help our DNA to not mutate, we can't make any medical claims whatsoever other than we reduce oxidative stress. But when you see that in a mouse, and there's other research in mice as well that has been absolutely groundbreaking. I mean, I have pictures from Johns Hopkins University of mice that have been using Protandim. And just to see the pictures of the mice, Charlotte, I should send to you to show to people, absolutely amazing. The mice that take the Protandim versus the ones that don't, their hair is beautiful and thick, and they're not fat, and they look like baby mice. They look like these beautiful, like teenage mice, and the other mice look terrible. And it's just crazy. So, we can't see necessarily on the outside all the time what it looks like on the inside, right? We can't see that, but we can see our skin. And I love talking about true science because I think it's very undersold. I don't know if you guys realize that Nrf2 activation for the skin, I believe, will be the next big thing in skincare. There is one other company that has products I believe, in Europe that they're developing for Estee Lauder, and it's Nrf2 activation for the skin. It will be the next big thing, and 91% of the people that used True Science in our clinical study that had 86 women, it was over 56. I believe it was a 8-week, 56-day study. 91% of the people said they were going to take it again. They were going to buy it again. 91%. Now, we don't always get that with Protandim unless we tell people they have to take it for 90 days. If we don't get people to take Protandim for more than a month, our reorder rate is not very high. You guys need to make sure your customers, and if there's new people on the phone, you want to give yourself, honor your body and commit to taking it for 90 days, because then the reorder rate is so high, we don't lose people if they take it for 90 days, because generally they're going to notice something. In the skincare, they notice in 56 days, 91% of the people are going to buy it again. So if you sell a skincare set, it could last somebody for 2 months if they don't use it twice a day. I use it all over my body, so I buy it every month. I need more than 1 month supply for my family, for myself. But the point is, from a business perspective, you want to make sure every single person that buys Protandim buys True Science one time. Just say, just trust me, buy it once, use it. So I'm telling you guys this because it's going to help your business explode if you do that. Because 91% of the people are going to use it again, and it's going to prove to them on the outside what Protandim is doing on the inside. They can see it. And this is what people want. People want to see results. They also want to be able to make money, right? They want to be able to show in their business that they have a very duplicatable business model. And I know you guys only have right now, so far, the Nrf2 and the True Science. You can build a huge business. Do you know that 70% of the sales in LifeVantage are just on True Science, or just on Protandim? I just got this statistic from Darren Jensen. I met with him last week in the office, at his office. And he told me 70% is Protandim, about 20% is Nrf1 now, which you guys don't have yet, about 19%. And the rest of it, 11% is all our other stuff. So you guys have everything that you need to build your businesses, okay? We need to be selling more of the other products, but I'm telling you, with the skincare, holy smokes, we really have an opportunity. So what I've been able to achieve working with all the leadership in the company, which is so extraordinary, this community of people that we have, it's just exceeded all my expectations beyond my wildest dreams, as far as having a business that I could really mentally get my arms around, that actually is very stimulating intellectually. And I don't know if everybody cares about that, but to me, that was important to me, that I could be involved in something that was really going to be intellectually stimulating, for the second half of my life. And, some people crave that and other people don't. But, this is incredible, because every day there's something new that we can learn. We also have an opportunity to, make a significant amount of money and change people's lives from a financial perspective. So, that's intellectually stimulating too, to look at your bank account and see the money coming in. So, it's fun. We're having a great time. And Charlotte, I know you've been an incredible leader. You've done so well over there and really reactivated, the Australia market. So I don't know if you want me to say more stuff. I'll get my little charger off, so I'll be able to hear you if you want to ask me a question, or, I can hear a little bit.
Wow, I tell you what, I feel so encouraged listening to you. My smile is just huge, because I just realized once again what we have. And you so often will hear distributors say, oh, we need this product and we need that product. But the truth is we have what we need, right? We have Protandim and we have True Signs, and those are the two key products in any way. So amazing, amazing. Amy, there's a few questions regarding your Lyme disease. So I just want to make the disclaimer that, we can never, ever say that Protandim cures, heals, prevents, or mitigates any disease. But we're just talking about you specifically and your body. How did Protandim help with your Lyme's disease?
So sorry I had to put it up to my ear. For some reason, the speaker's not working. Oh my gosh. So I was taking about 30 to 40 supplements a day, Charlotte. And they were very expensive supplements, mostly pharmaceutical grade, being sold through my doctor's offices that I was going to. So I was taking a lot of similar ingredients, by the way. I had been taking ashwagandha. I had been taking bacopa even, not consistently, and turmeric. And when I started taking Protandim, I did get a little bit of a detox reaction to it. So I got a little bit sick. Some people do, some people don't. I was fine with that because I knew something was happening, something was working. And literally within about 10 days, it was like a light switch went off in my brain because I had had the condition of brain fog from the Lyme disease. It really attacks the brain ultimately. And I was going to a neurologist and a psychologist to do like meditation and stuff to relax my nervous system because my brain was really, I was having processing speed problems and memory problems. It literally was like a light switch went off in my brain. And I can't make any medical claims about this, you guys. But all I can tell you is I never went on all those other supplements again. I went off of everything. I did also do a T-bar test, which I decided to do. I had already been on Protandim for about maybe 2 months. And my doctor was so intrigued by this, he ordered the kits. And he said, let's do a T-bar test now, even with you being on it already. And then we'll do another one in a year. So he said, I don't want to see a month. Let's see what happens in a year to see how this really affects you because it's a long term that makes the difference. So I did a T-bar test and it was really high, you guys, but it probably was off the page before I started taking Protandim. And then a year later, I went back about 14 months later and I had another one. I wasn't going to see my doctor in the meantime. I used to go every month to see him to get an update on my vitamins and everything. I would do a meditation session. I didn't see him for 14 months, came back. I didn't need to. And he doesn't take insurance. So I was paying out of pocket. 14 months later, came and took another one. My oxidative stress was reduced by 57%. He was totally blown away. And, he doesn't sell Protandim in his office. He has a nurse in there that, that signed up, but she's not really doing anything. He honestly said to me, this will put me out of business. He literally said that to me. He said, he made me look out the window, and I'm not even going to tell you his name because we became good friends. He pointed to his car and he said, if I start selling Protandim, if I give this to my patients, I'm not going to have that car outside. I said, I can show you how to make money with this. He said, Amy, I just can't go there. So he just decided not to join, but he was totally blown away by what we have. And I don't go back to him anymore. So, I'm telling you guys, the only thing I have still, I have a teeny bit of neuropathy I used to have pretty bad neuropathy in my legs from the Lyme disease. And it's just a teeny bit. I'll get like a little burning. And I know if I'm stressed out, that's when it happens. If I'm burning the candle, like traveling too much or whatever. And this business is a little stressful, when you're trying to grow it and you have goals. Thank God for Protandim. That's all I can tell you. We need these products to get to Pro-10. Woohoo! We do.
So true. I've got my little bottle right here on my desk. So Amy, I 100% relate because, I said before I had Lyme disease. And again, guys, we don't make any disclaimers. I'm just sharing my personal story. But I had Lyme's disease, and my good friend G came to me and she said, you've got to try this tablet. And I'm like, Okay, well, I did, but let me tell you, I felt so bad. I was detoxing terribly. It took me 3 weeks. And in fact, by sort of week 2, I rang her and I said, this little yellow pill, I'm going to throw in the bin because it's making me feel so much worse. But I didn't. I just persevered. And I woke up exactly week 3 and my brain fog went. It was gone. So I know what you're saying. It was like a switch was just turned on and I was back to normal as far as my brain function. So amazing, amazing product. Guys, Amy, can you tell us when somebody says to you, what is that little yellow pill? Or what is Protandim? How do you explain it?
I explain it like it's a little cellular vacuum cleaner. So literally people need to visualize things, and the inside of the cell gets that rust, just like it does on the outside of your car or when you cut an apple in half. You know, that rust is building up inside the cell and causing the cell to mutate and get damaged. We're going to put a little cellular vacuum cleaner in there, and that your body makes those that little vacuum cleaner, and it stops doing it when you're about 25 years old. It just doesn't turn on as much to clean up. So we're just going to turn that back on again, and it's putting the body back in balance. It's not doing anything that the body isn't supposed to do. It literally is giving the body back the balance that it needs to fight the stress that the environmental assaults that we're under. So if you think about it, it's literally like a little switch inside the cell, which is exactly why you and I felt like a light switch went off. Well, it really did. A light switch did go off, and it's a Nrf2 light switch. But most people don't understand that. So if you talk about a cellular vacuum cleaner that just gets in there and cleans everything out, and it comes on a couple hours a day, and then it goes back off again. And you take a pill and it comes back on again for a couple hours, and then it goes back off. And that's it. And it's 1,000,000 times more powerful than a vitamin. So, it's like, using vitamins or like a flip phone. How many people still have a flip phone, and then versus an iPhone? And so this is a newer technology. It's just people just don't know about it yet. So we're you're the first one to know. You can either take this information and do what you want with it, or you can do what you want. But we're doing what we're buying iPhones. We're not using flip phones anymore.
Awesome. I love that the flip phone, iPhone analogy. I think it is so practical and people really do understand it. Amy, one more question is, how do you approach medical specialists? So you've shared the story of your own doctor and his apathy, or should I say, he didn't want to lose his income. But how do you approach medical specialists or anybody in the medical field about Protandim?
Yeah, so I do have a good fair amount of doctors in my team, and one of the things that I like to talk to doctors about more than just the science of this is their business, because you can ask them, are your patients starting to ask you about any kind of natural supplements or anything that would be an alternative to medication? And most of them are going to say yes. And then you can say to them, what do you say about that when they're inquiring? And a lot of them just say, well, I don't really get into that. I say, do you understand how big the supplement industry is and how important it is to be on the cutting edge of that? Because your patients, they're going to buy something from somebody other than you. And if you don't know anything about what's happening in this area of nutrigenomics, you're leaving money on the table. So, you might be introducing other technologies into your office. A lot of doctors' offices are doing Botox. They're doing all these other weird things to try to bring an income to their business. And so this is just like adding a Botox or another income stream into their business, because they don't think of supplements in that way. But most doctors' offices, at some point, they're going to have to go down this road, because they're not going to be able to make the money that they used to make. In the United States, it's just terrible. The doctors are not making as much money as they used to. So at least we have a solution that can help bring income to their office, but we also have the most researched products in the market right now. So at least the worst case scenario for you is that you should at least know about this, because there's no other supplement company that has 26 published studies on a product that is a million times stronger than a vitamin. So if somebody's asking you, hey, should I be taking vitamins? Most doctors will say, yeah, you should take a multivitamin. But they don't recommend which one, but they say yes. They could say, hey, you could even just say, hey, learn about Protandim. And you could just have an answer to say to somebody, hey, there's this company, they make this product called Protandim. I don't sell it, but here, call this person. I mean, at least you would give them something that would make you sound like at least you're on the cutting edge, even if you're not selling it yourself. And then you sort of, you're helping them. You're becoming a resource for them by giving them information. And you're not trying to close them. You're not trying to say, hey, you should get into the business. For them, it's so hard for them to think of how they could take one more minute out of their day. But to just say, let me be a resource to you and give you some information. So the next time a patient asks you a question, you could say, hey, you might want to check out this thing called Protandim. It's more powerful than a vitamin, and it has 26, published studies. And, give them a business card. Say you could hand out a business card. It doesn't have to be the doctor. And I've gotten a lot of business that way because they don't feel threatened, like you're just trying to sign them up. You're just trying to help them to not sound like an idiot when the person comes in, they don't know anything. So there you go. You're like a really smart doctor. You probably should know about this. I don't care if you sell it or not, but at least you'll sound smart when they ask you a question.
Oh, I love that. That's like really turning it around, hey, and coming from a service point of view instead of trying to sell something to them. I love that. Amy, thank you so much. One last thought, or maybe, idea or suggestion that you can leave our distributors with in terms of building their own business. What nugget can you give them?
Well, absolutely, positively. And I feel like I'm rebuilding my business now because I'm building my second and third business centers. I want to recruit 5 leaders again. I'm like on a mission right now. And I will tell you, after 4.5 years of this, I'm focusing on the business. I was so product oriented. I know we've been talking about Protandim, this call, and this is the reason that we have such an incredible business opportunity. So, but not everybody is going to understand what we're talking about. Okay. So I really want you guys, if you want you to grow your business faster, learn the compensation plan, learn how to show it in about 10 minutes to show people, yes, we have this ABC News report. Yes, we have a breakthrough product. Let me show you how we're making money with this. Literally within 10 minutes of having a conversation with someone, you could start to show them how you're going to make money with this, because you don't know where they are in their life. And if you can always go back to the science conversation, but don't let the science conversation run for half an hour and then start talking about money, because you're going to lose them. If they're a businessman and they think they have to talk for 30 minutes on the science and then you're going to talk about the money, it's going to take too long. So I'm going straight, literally, after I show now what I'm doing, and I'm not changing anything. We're all still using the same plan. I'm just getting to the money a lot faster. And then I go back to what more can I tell you about the science? Let me tell you this is the technology, Nutrigenomics. I show the Nutrigenomics, what is video, which is not everyone uses that. Then I use the ABC News report. It takes like 10 minutes to show both of those. I show a shorter version of the ABC News report. And then I go, let me show you how we're making money with this. And then I'm going to explain to you more about the science of the product. But I want you to know that there's a huge financial opportunity with this. Would you be open to hearing about that? And if they say yes, then you're getting into the money. And then you go, okay, now that I've shown you how we're making money, let me tell you why this is going to be so big. Let me explain more about Nrf2. What can I tell you? How can I, what information do you need to understand more about this? So I'm really encouraging you guys to do that.
Thank you. That's really, really great information and a tip. Amy, I've tested this myself. I've been in a room with 200 or 300 people, and I've asked questions like, who wants to be more healthy? And maybe 50% would put up their hand. Or I'd say, who wants to lose weight? And maybe another 30% would put up their hand. But when you say who needs more money, every single person puts up their hand. And it's not about greed and about just wanting more. It's just that a lot of families are under massive financial pressure, right? So, guys, that's a great tip from Amy. Amy, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have been amazing. The comments in this chat have been, I love her. She explains this so basic and so easy for us to understand. You have just been such a star. So we want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for your leadership. And thank you,
You're
everybody.
welcome.
Anytime, I'd love to come back and chat with you.
Thank you
Thanks
so much. And thanks to our guests and distributors for joining us, guys. This meeting is officially wrapped now. Thank you.